For A. How to become a man, know yourself, and you will know the gods and the universe, Chilean, 6th century BC Sparta. Problems of humanitarian development, Planet Without Borders, Project. Popular exposition of the concept of an open humanitarian civilization with equal opportunities for self-realization. Previous name, Harmony, copyright registration certificate number 44902, Ukraine. Everything flows, everything changes, Heraclitus, 540 to 480 BC, Greece, for those who think about their destination. The main ideas of the project, man is free. There is no power over man. Any power over a person is slavery, violence is the most serious crime. A world created by force is a violated world, the planet's natural resources and available space are a common asset. A product created by human labor can be private, communal or state property. Civilizational, cultural, intellectual, scientific, property, not protected by copyright and intellectual property rights, is the common property of mankind. A person is the subject of a lifelong right to private ownership of a proportional share of profit from the use of natural and civilizational resources. A person uses the services of the unified global system of scientific support for development, security and self-realization. Popular comment, my unknown friend. Returning from the current Ukrainian realities, I apologize for the long break in communication. This comment is a subjective judgment. Man is the unity and struggle of two beings, biological and social, for self-realization, satisfaction of one's needs and development as a person needs communication and interaction with other people. A person's personality is formed in the process of communication and interaction with society and is a product of society's culture. It must be recognized that a being focused solely on consumption and the satisfaction of its physiological needs is not yet a man. How is a person different from an animal? A person creates good, changing the world, and an animal adapts and consumes. The system of capitalist production and distribution, based on the principles of private property, maximization of profit, capital, unlimited economic benefit, does not stop before capturing and appropriating the common life goods of mankind. Violence and fear have formed an aggressive culture of greedy biological creatures that, like animals, mark territory, hunt, eat the trusting and safe, have a herd instinct. Animal greed and aggression, having seized the vital resources of humanity, including the achievements of human intelligence, continues to determine the vector of humanitarian development. Development is the process and result of interaction of energy, information, matter and maintenance of harmony in dynamic balance. When the dynamic equilibrium is disturbed, the processes of transition to a new quality, to new forms and systems of interactions begin. The concentration of energy, information, and matter at any point in space, time and movement adequately activates the processes of redistribution, exchange and transformation to achieve harmony in a dynamic equilibrium of a new level. Modern transformations and humanitarian development are the result of the concentration of the common life benefits of humanity in the hands of a small number of individuals. About 200 people, for example, are the owners of the world's financial resources. This naturally and adequately activates objective processes of redistribution to achieve harmony in a dynamic balance of a new level. It depends on us how the processes of redistribution of vital resources and goods stolen from humanity will take place. Will it be a voluntary return on a moral and ethical level, or will aggressive and brazen global greed, manipulating herds of biological beings, start a nuclear war? And then no one will be saved by bunkers and bags of treasury papers. People think in herds. They go mad as a herd and come to their senses slowly and one by 1 inch, Charles Mackay. The crowd never seeks the truth, she turns away from evidence that she does not like, and prefers to bow to error, if only this error tempts her. He who knows how to mislead the crowd easily becomes its ruler, whoever tries to reason with her always becomes her victim. Gustave Le Bon. Ignorance, lack of humanitarian culture, unpreparedness for the free market of moral values, systematic manipulation of information and public consciousness, violence and fear do not give us the opportunity to understand the simple truth: there are no victories in wars. When we kill people, we kill the man in us at the same time. Let's imagine that a biological being, monkey, endowed with resources or power, runs around the planet no longer with a grenade or a nuclear bomb, but asserts its power and aggression with the help of artificial intelligence. Of all human passions, after pride, the most ferocious is the lust for power. Not a single passion has cost humanity so much suffering and blood as the lust for power. V. Belinsky. If we came to the wrong place, then we will have to go back to the beginning and find our way. The phenomenon of social, spiritual, intellectual forms of movement in the uniqueness of man, ability, to the conscious choice of the development of interactions and self-realization depending on its reflection of the surrounding world and the spiritual values of choice formed on this basis. The spiritual component of internal harmony, the adequacy of man's reflection of the environment, the concentration of socio-cultural interactions and creative energy in common space, time and the vector of movement development based on general humanistic values of choice determine humanitarian development. Simply put, the more educated a person is, the more objectively he reflects the world around him, the more adequately and effectively he interacts with it, and therefore, the more difficult it is to manipulate him. The project is an attempt to create a model of scientific management of the processes of achieving and maintaining internal harmony, in the dynamic balance of civilizational interactions of development, security and self-realization of man. This project does not deny private ownership of a human-made product. If in its production, common civilizational resources are used, then, depending on the degree of their use, part of the profit from the sale of the manufactured product will belong to humanity. So, how to become a human? Everything begins with the knowledge of the world, which is constantly changing, the creation of man in himself and the creation of the common good. You can often hear, nothing personal, just business. But this does not justify robbing and killing people. We are children of God, brothers and sisters, not enemies. Evil must be answered with good, and hate with love. Evil equals evil times 2 equals war, and evil good equals 0 equals peace. Jesus Christ, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, and as you want people to do to you, do to them. Gospel from St. Luke 6:27-31. We should bring each other joy, not grief. And then peace will come, there will be people and there will be life. It is said, thou shalt not kill, but those who are not allowed to create, use tricks and wars to take away the good things of life from those who create them. They incite enmity, speculate on patriotism, and invent enemies, for the border-separated masses to manipulate and use for their criminal purposes. Apostle Paul, AD 4-64, Turkey, for the root of all evil is the love of money, to which some have fallen away from the faith and caused themselves great suffering. The first letter of St. Apostle Paul to Timothy 6:10. Bow my head in prayer for the souls of the millions of earthlings who perish because of the excessive greed of the ruling bio-beings. A low bow to mothers who save their children and life on the planet from war. Shame on the blind patriots of their slavery, who kill people to please the rulers. The world is going crazy in pursuit of profit and money. What good is a man who will gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Gospel of Matthew 16:26. How to become a human? You can become a person by communicating and interacting with the human environment. Adequate interaction with the environment is possible only on the basis of its objective reflection. In order to bring one's own subjective worldview closer to the objective one, it is necessary to constantly learn about the changing world. To know the world, one must study and use the services of science. The age of living is the age of learning, Ukrainian proverb. Create a man in yourself. Do not obey this world. Rather, let your mind be changed and renewed, so that you may know and accept the will of God, so that you may understand what is good and perfect and acceptable to God. Romans 12:2. Two things in the world fill my soul with holy fire, the starry sky above my head and the moral law within us. I can't. Do not choose, but share the good with people. Aristotle, the highest good is the common good. How we treat people, so people treat us. Ukrainian proverb. Jesus Christ, sell all that you have and give to the poor, and you will have your treasure in heaven. Gospel from St. Luke 18:22. About the project in simple words, we will get to know the world and adequately interact with it, create a man in ourselves and jointly create the common good on the planet. Fear, violence, aggression, politics, borders, wars and states with their monopolies on violence, fiscal policy of taxation, distribution of social product, right of legislative initiative will disappear. The planet, its resources and the resources of accessible space will become a common good. The economic basis of human life will be a uniform and proportional share of profit from the use of common natural and civilizational resources. A person will use the services of the unified global system of scientific support for development, security and self-realization. A person will invest his own funds in social projects and programs of his choice. In the transition period, self-government at the level of territorial communities will be preserved with open voting and responsibility of citizens for their choices. Important decisions will be made by general meetings of citizens. Communities will unite to implement regional projects. Community members will have the right of legislative initiative. According to the recommendations of the scientific support and with the support of the majority of citizens, the draft laws will acquire the status of legislative norms in the territorial community. The only measure of justice will be full compensation for damages. During the transition period, by decision of the General Meeting of Citizens, a norm is temporarily introduced, according to which a citizen is the subject of the right to use means of self-defense that neutralize aggression. In the next video, we will consider the humanitarian situation in Ukraine. Peace and love to all. Before meeting.
Він упав раненько, тільки день зайнявся, чула, як тихенько з ненею прощався, хрестик у долоні, на устах молитва, смерті слід на скроні залишила битва. Плакала калина, з вітром говорила, розпитай по світу, чия тут могила. Молодий хлопчина мав і ночі сині, чи Роман зі Львова, чи Тарас з Волині. Я йому гілками очі закривала, за невинну душу Господа благала. Отче наш небесний, дай спасіння сину, що в бою загинув, та за Україну. Пригорнися, вітре, до чиєїсь хати, де біля ікони на колінах мати, ненька як голубка, рано посивіла, без Христа забута, у степу могила. Плакала калина, з вітром говорила, розпитай по світу, чия тут могила. Молодий хлопчина мав і ночі сині, чи Роман зі Львова, чи Тарас з Волині. Плакала калина, з вітром говорила, розпитай по світу, чия тут могила. Молодий хлопчина мав і ночі сині, чи Роман зі Львова, чи чи Тарас з Волині, всім героям слава, слава Україні!